operations. And guys, we're going to be talking about the Issei now. I need to get her all set up. So just take a moment to do that. You cannot detonate an operation, so you don't need to worry about that. Let's do that, sure.
As that, when are they giving you codes to give those away?
I actually will be able, assuming that my review of the Issei is approved, I will be able to give one away. So here she is. This is the Issei in the different camouflage. This is the stock one that you get. I really like her in this other one. It's very sexy. But because it's our first battle, I get the 50% bonus. I'm going to go ahead and put a better camo on for more earnings. So I need somebody to unready in the battleship category, if you guys don't mind. So let's talk about the Issei. The Issei is a battle carrier. So she is a battleship that also has been converted to a carrier. What that means is basically, historically speaking, the Japanese Navy, they removed the rear two turrets of the Issei. In World of Warships, that's the battleship Hyuga that you can pick up. And then they put a flight deck over the rear of the ship and basically turned it into a hybrid carrier. So she's got an area to launch, and I believe the idea was that the planes would land in the water and that cranes would scoop them out of the water and put them back up on the deck and prepared to launch. I don't believe that they were supposed to actually land. No. And you can see the way that they're set up here. They've got like a catapult system, right? And then they get winched into the catapult, and then they launch from there. Okay. So anyways, that's how that ship was designed. Thank you, guys. Oftentimes we say that if you try to do two things at once, you fail. Historically speaking, the Isseis didn't do too well. They weren't able to. The Japanese weren't able to really use the planes to too much advantage. In World of Warships, of course, we'll talk a little bit about that. Artillery-wise, she's got the same 356mm guns that you would find on, say, the Fuso, for example. Okay, so nothing too special there. Right, exactly. The ship had to stop to recover their planes. Let's go back to the Issei for a second. You'll notice also that as part of the modernization, all of her casemate secondaries have been removed. So she only has these dual-purpose 127s now. Okay. IJN used planes for scouting and shot. Yes, exactly. They were trying. The idea. These aren't necessarily planes that are meant to do a lot against like a enemy carrier or something. They're there to help spot shells and stuff. Now, because she's a battleship, let's talk a little bit about her armor scheme. Why can I not? Oh, probably because I'm readied up. All right, let me unready again. Hello? It's not letting me show. Okay, that's interesting.
Is it because you're on exterior and it's looking at the camos?
Oh, maybe. So I go to port. Yeah. There we go. Armor layout. Okay, I can ready up when you say that. So let's take a look at her armor profile. She's okay. I'm gonna unready so we get rid of that text. God, that's annoying. Okay, so she's got 26mm 4-in plating, which means that starting at tier 7, Colorado, Nagato, and stuff will overmatch her bow quite easily. She's got 32mm side plating. And then, of course, she's got the rear stuff. The big thing about this ship, if I drop away the side plating, is look at how much Citadel is exposed. Right here, a decent amount, and then underneath, you've got a torpedo bulkhead there. This thing, if on broadside here, eats Citadels like crazy. So you have to be very careful with your angling and your positioning with the Issei. You cannot just you know, willy-nilly show broadside. And I'll explain why that's a big deal once we get into into the game. All right.
Hey, Zach.
Yes,
You should pull up a picture of a Fuso and look at them side by side.
that's a good point. We'll do so. The other thing too is the like I was talking about overmatching the bow. If we pop that out, you can see you can get right into that Citadel with warship quite easily from range. So it is possible to bow Citadel and Issei, as we found out when we did the CC Issei Jamboree, whatever, on Friday. Also in the rear, somewhat exposed Citadel in the rear. Now let's take a look at the Fuso. And you can see it's a very different armor scheme. The Fuso is much better protected than the Issei. Is that the point you were trying to make there, Scheist?
Yeah, it handles a lot like the Fuso, but it's got a little bit more weakness. I guess they do to counteract the versatility of the ship. The hybrid it is. So
right.
They've added a little bit. They've stripped a little bit of armor away, but as far as the way it drives and whatnot, turning radius and things, it seems to kind of feel about the same.
Yep. Dutch, I can compare.
The guns are just as accurate. They're just less of them.
All right. I'm gonna exit the division because I've been asked to compare her to the Hyuga at tier 7, but in order to do that, I have to leave division and change to a co-op battle so that we can pull that up. So, Kitten, I made you commander. You can just invite me back in when we get when we need to. All right. Here's the Hyuga's armor scheme. Actually, it looks pretty similar. Looks very similar, actually. A little bit stronger, I would say. It feels like the Issei's got a little bit more, like, areas there, but yeah. Now, the other thing that we need to talk about is her deck in the rear. This is a rather large area. You can see it's 26 millimeters of plating, along with the aft end plating. So the entire rear of the ship will eat a lot of damage. An easy way to damage an Issei if it's running away from you is if you aim for the deck. Yes, her junk in the trunk, exactly right. Okay. So that's one of the weaknesses. But, you know, her guns are pretty much what you would expect of a Japanese battleship. If you can hit stuff with the guns, great. If you can't hit crap with it, you're screwed. Maneuverability-wise, she compared to the... let's compare that to the Hyuga. So just under 14 seconds rudder shift. About the same for the Hyuga. Same rudder turning. So there you go. And concealment is 13.8 compared to... crap. I gotta put the commander on. Change commander. So 14.7 for the Hyuga. 15.4 for the Issei. No, wait. 13.8. So Issei is actually a little bit stealthier than the Hyuga, which is interesting. Any other questions you guys have on the while we're in port that you would like to ask about? There's a retractable crane that is supposed to pick these ships, the planes up, and I think it's... I'm trying to find it. I thought it was built into the rear superstructure, but I don't see it. Nope, here it is, right here. But how does that reach?
That's the boat handling.
Yeah,
crane.
right. That's the other crane. Huh. Unless it's this piece here, if it's built into the deck in the center. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's a transformer, guys. Maybe it just transforms into a giant robot, lifts the planes up, and then transforms back into a ship.
I wonder if you could see that if it goes to recover planes, or did they just not model?
They didn't model that. They didn't model that. They just appear on the deck. So. It is the D-Day anniversary, yes. And actually, where is my calendar? It's either this Saturday or next Saturday. It's the anniversary of my becoming a CC. Okay, so let's talk then. Let's get into the battle, and then we'll talk about some other characteristics of her. The other thing I want to mention about, actually, before I ready up, commander skills. So you have to treat her more like a battleship than an aircraft carrier. There aren't really any skills that help the torpedo bombers other than, say, the enhanced anti-torpedo protection. That's it, if I remember correctly. I don't think there's anything else that would affect the planes. So, to me, I would just put a random battle, my typical battleship captain on, and I would just, do that. So that's what I did. I threw Yamamoto on because I can, thanks to the commander rework. And then equipment, it's just your standard battleship equipment. All right. Go ahead and punch the button, kitten.
Oh, fine.
While this loads, I need to also point out or mention that this ship was provided to me for free by Wargaming for review purposes. Should have gone with an anti-air battleship captain instead. Why is that, Hujam? The reason I'm saying why is that is because even though I'm in a tier 6 that's got carrier, that's got aircraft, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to run into a carrier on the opposite team. There is no mirror matchmaking, so you don't have to deal with, just because there's one Issei, one battle carrier on one team, you'll get one on the other. So that's why...
This morning I played in a tier 6 battle. There were 7 Isseis total in the game.
Oh my god.
One of them was a three ship division.
Wow. Oh, okay, it's got the best anti-air of any tier 6 ship outside of carrier, so you build to its strengths. Good point. Thanks, Hujam. Now, let me show you guys what I think is the biggest weakness of the ship while we get into position early on. And that is the turret arcs. Now, if I go farther and farther back, you'll see that your number 4 turret... Hi, kitten.
Hi.
Your number 4 turret, right about there. I can't shoot out of my 3rd and 4th turret.
I'm trying. I keep trying to reverse to get away from you.
So, go ahead, Scheist, what's up?
The angles are pretty bad.
Yeah.
As far as your cutoff zone, it's not good.
Yep. So I find with her, and Scheist, you've played this extensively, so please feel free to chime in as well. I find with her, I like to play bow in, like angled forward, and so not fully bow in, I suppose, but to the position where I could use all of my guns and reverse if I need to. Kind of like a Russian battleship style.
I honestly played about a 65-degree angle unless I got a battleship bearing down on me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I get all 4 guns on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If something starts aiming at me and punching, I'll move, but I don't seem to have too many trouble with it. I'd probably bounce a little bit better if I played the angles, but I'm losing firepower because I'm limited to my guns. And
Yep.
the cooldown on the planes is so long that you really kind of just have to stick it out there. Play max distance really is about.
Yep. And that's part of it. So I'm terrible at aim with Japanese battleships, so I play a lot closer than I probably should be. But I do that because I can't hit crap at range, so. Cardinal Tanaka, fetch the comfy pillows. Okay. So since we're at range here, now I can show you guys launching the plane. So you hit 3 twice, and your planes just yeet off the deck. Yeet! Is that cool or what? Ship's almost worth it just for that animation alone, right? The comfy pillows are torps. And you saw Scheist's a spread. These spreads are quite wide, and as a result, you're not going to get a ton of torpedo hits. Maybe 4, maybe 5 or 6. So here I'm going to try to turn so I can get a shot on that Furutaka before I go around the corner. But I had to turn quite a bit in order to make that shot happen, and Sithkin's ramming me again. Yeah, you only get one attack, and then you can see how much time it takes to launch the planes again. If you spend a lot of time sailing around with the aircraft to spot things, you can use your aircraft again more rapidly. The timer starts as soon as you use the planes and yeet them off the deck. 2,700 max damage per hit, yes.
So if you go really far away and then do your drop, you can get another set of planes up in like 30 seconds sometimes.
Yep. Yep, or like if you're in ranked or something and you're trying to spot for your team. So you're just sailing around, that sort of deal. You could do that.
Watch the planes here go.
Four carriers and 10
I
Iseis.
tend to come in from behind just a little bit and then aim right at the bow. And I dropped them too late. I'm only going to get 3 hits on that. I will say this. One of the things I did when I spec'd my captain was, I'm like, cool, I'm going to have port planes, I'm going to spec for flooding. And flooding flags and all this crap. And let me tell you something. I have not noticed a significant difference I spent on it, so I think it's overrated.
You think it's what?
Overrated.
What
I
is?
think it's worth it. Putting points into increasing the chance of getting more floods out of your torps and flags and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I find that I don't get any more floods when I buff it than I did if I just left it alone.
Right. These torpedo bombers aren't really meant to do a lot of damage. Sorry, what was that, kitten?
Reading in game chat. No, I did not.
Never
I just happened to see a catnip plant, so I had to stop to get it.
Okay. So like I was saying, the torpedoes are not meant to do a ton of damage. You might get a lucky flood or something, that's okay. But the big thing is that they're designed to turn a target so that they try to dodge the torps, and then they go broadside, and then you just smack them.
Yep.
Nice job, Smurf.
I do that frequently to enemy battleships.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the Dallas hitting this hard.
Maybe he's got IFHE.
Boom. You said 8 B shells.
Oh. Maybe he's got the AP damage buff too. I don't necessarily know what they do with the bot captains. It's very possible they might just give them every skill or something. Because why not, right? Oh, I can play with my plane again.
Because why not? That's right. Because why not?
Because why not? So if you're fighting an Issei and you're about to get dropped by the torpedo bombers, personally, I wouldn't panic. And I think that's the part that a lot of people screw up, is that they panic and then they start trying to dodge the torps and then they get whacked by AP shells.
They can hurt you. They have to hit you with a bunch of them. Like the most I've gotten so far is 6 out of 8 to actually connect with the target I aimed at.
Mm-hmm.
And when the guy only had 16,000 hit points, those 6 really added up.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I got flooding out of it, so. But that's one of the freak occurrences where I actually got flooding.
Now, one other thing to mention is when you're playing this ship, it's very easy for you to forget that your ship is still moving. Like if you look at the mini-map, my ship is still moving forward, looks like. Or maybe it beached, I don't know. But you got to be cognizant of... Yep, I beached, great. Got to be cognizant of like what you're doing, where you're going. Hey, look, 6 torpedo hits, not bad. But I highly recommend you take this ship into, if you do buy it, take it into operations first. Get some practice with it. So you kind of know what to expect and how it's going to work. Hey, Kadu. How you doing?
Tell you right now, I've had myself driving straight at an island, and I've launched my planes, and I came back, and my ship had turned, went out from behind the island, and I was getting murdered by 3 battleships.
Right.
And I'm like, what the? Oh,
Yep.
I was cussing.
Yep, but you can see the, I've got pretty good angles if I'm staying bow forward. So that's how, like, when I play the ship, if I'm playing it aggressively, I like to be up close and personal and all that kind of stuff. Mad at your PC? Oh, no. So I'll go ahead and... So... You have to be thinking about when you're gonna pop your plane, how you want to do that. Sometimes what I like to do, if I'm up close and personal with the enemy and I'm gonna launch my plane, I'll hit the S key like 5 or 6 times to make sure that I'm gonna slowly reverse, and that way while I'm sailing around in my planes, I'm not so worried about positioning of my ship. So that's one thing that can kind of come in handy. Yeah, Duckman, you had some questions about the wiki you wanted me to cover during the Zath chat portion, so I'll see if I can do that for you. And that's a dead Fuso.
Got one more.
Just like your general Japanese battleship guns, you'll find yourself overpenning a lot. Yeah, you can use your autopilot to set a course, but like what Shice was just saying was he had set an autopilot, and then the autopilot's like, oh, you want to come out from behind this rock? Sure! And then Shice proceeded to get himself killed because autopilot basically took him out from the rock. So, like, if I'm gonna go and launch my planes right now, I would see how I'm in full reverse right now. I would just sit here in full reverse because it helps to keep me mostly angled to threats. And then I'm not so worried about it. Like if I take a torpedo or whatever. But I'm trying to set myself up so that I'm ready to fire off my planes in 10 seconds. Hey, there we go. And you can see that was a Citadel hit, even though I've got a torpedo bulge. Yes. Yes, make sure your guns are pointed the way that you want them to be pointed later in the battle so that when you come back, your guns are pointed on target. That's actually a really good point, Toxic. Thank you very much. Would you guys like to see another game in the Issei, or is that good enough for you guys? And do you have any other questions about this ship that you would like to ask?
What happens if you guys cross-drop everything with your torpedo bombers?
People lose hit points?
Yeah.
That's a very dirty thing that can be done. But yeah, it sounds like most of the people that have Issei do enjoy the ship. So there's that. Would I recommend it for random battles? It's okay. It's a different experience. It's tier 6, so I mean, you're not going to see it in a lot of special modes or something necessarily. That being said, operations, it's great in operations. I think it's really good if you're going to play ranked. I think it'll be very handy in ranked if you get really good with it. You know, it's not bad. They really like it in 3-man dibs. Well, I mean, you can do ridiculous dirty things with it in 3-man dibs. So there's that. But it definitely plays different than any other ship that you have in your port because of the fact that it's the first hybrid ship to come out. So keep that in mind, alright? Alright, any other questions? Yes, Dutch. Spotting is very similar to a carrier. Same idea. You detect the ships and then you go and you do that, so... Seeing that you guys are readying up ships, I'm guessing you want to go again?
We're missing a person at the moment,
There's
so I'm
room
not sure we
for
can
one
do...
because I gotta get ready to go. So there's room for one. I'm gonna do this giveaway,
Okay,
and if anybody wants my spot, they may have it.
sounds good.
I need
Now-
to shower and get ready for dinner.
Unlike a carrier, you noticed how there was a delay before you could launch your planes right at the start. So yes, spotting does work similarly to how you would do it in a random battle. But the thing is that your spotting is delayed by whatever it is, 1 minute and 30 seconds or 2 minutes, whatever the delay is before you can launch it.
When?
2 minutes. Okay? So you have to wait that 2 minutes for those planes to go up there and spot anything. If there's a carrier on the team, the carrier's already spotted everything before you can spot things. But the reason I said it's really good in ranked is because towards the mid to late part of the battle, when you need to know where that little destroyer is that could be flanking or something like that, you can go and spot it for the team. That's huge. Right, it would destroy any stealth in the game if you had the ability to launch your planes immediately. That's correct.
Glenn, speak up.
Yeah, I don't know if Cochran's here. I'm sure he is. All right. Well, more ships with anti-destroyer tools. That's very true. What did I get for base XP that game?
Alright, Coughlin, last chance. Remember, you poop, you lose, yo.
I got 1,000 base XP. Woohoo!
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next.
Now it just destroys it 2 minutes. Right. Duckman wins.
I know he's here. Yep, there he is.
Well, if anybody else wants to join in, we'll go ahead and do another one of these ops. Sure.